Good morning. So doing a little video here. I want to talk about how I built this house in 9 months and the fact that I was able to get this lot for free. I got my land for free. How did I do that? All right, so I'm going to go into depth about that a little bit here. So as you probably know from the channel, I'm a full-time real estate investor. Again, I want to apologize for the noise. They are wrapping the house next door today, so lots of sound from the hammer tackers. So we bought this property, originally put it under contract. Actually, we started negotiations on this land in before COVID happened, and then I decided that I didn't want to get into that at the moment because I didn't know what was going to happen with the economy through COVID, and so I sort of put the brakes on it. And then in 2020, December 2020, we got back into negotiations with the sellers of the land and worked out a deal with them. Went under contract right around Christmas of 2020, and then we scheduled to close in April of 2021. So we got this property through a letter writing campaign. I send out direct mail marketing, sort of we buy houses kind of stuff, postcards. I'm just simplifying it here. I do more than that, but just for the sake of this video, I'm simplifying it. We do postcards. We send them out in the mail, and we pull lists and send them out, and it works. It's worked for years. It's always worked. It's a good, consistent marketing method. So we did the same for our property when we were wanting to build a house. So what I did is I went online and I pulled a list off of a website called ListSource, which is run by CoreLogic, which is basically like one of the largest real estate data companies on the market. And we pulled that list, and we were able to basically, I pulled a list of properties in a specific radius of where we wanted to be in this particular area where we're at now. And then I think that list gave me probably about, I can't remember what it was, maybe 75 properties. Sorry, my arm's already getting tired. Gave me about 75 properties, something like that. And so my wife then went through them and looked at them on Google Street View and all this stuff to figure out if that was what we wanted. By the way, our criteria was we wanted properties between 2 acres and 10 acres that that either had an old house on them or were vacant land. So they had an old small house. So I put in the criteria. I basically pulled 2 different lists. One list with 2 to 10 acre lots with an old house, or vacant land 2 to 10 acres within this area. And they had to have owned the land for a long time. I can't remember exactly what the date criteria I used at this point was, but they had to have owned it for a long time. So stuff that had been in someone's family for a while. So what I did then is we had this list, we had this group of properties, and then my wife went through and sort of narrowed it down and said, yeah, I don't like this lot. Oh, I don't want to be right here. She looked at them on our county GIS map, said, no, I don't like this, don't like this. So we got the list down to about 30 properties, and we sent out handwritten letters with a picture of our family saying that we were wanting to buy a house to build our dream home on, and blah blah blah, pretty letter. My wife has better handwriting than me, so she handwrote all of them. Props to her for doing that. She did a great job with it, and it paid off. So what we did then is we started getting phone calls, and we sent out 30 letters, and we got 5 phone calls from 5 different sellers, a few of which were just old people that wanted to chat. One lady really wanted to sell us her property, but her husband didn't want to sell, and she's like, as soon as he dies, I'll call you because I don't want this place. I don't want to take care of all this acreage. Like, I'm moving to a condo. It was kind of funny, but she's like, I love my husband to death, but he's a crotchety old man and he's not selling this property till he dies. So she said, when he dies, I'll call you. So she has our number. So, but anyways, and then this family called us, and we ended up, we wanted to just buy one lot. ironically, they only wanted to sell us this particular parcel that that our house is on now. But we really wanted a lot down that way on the other side of that house right there. So I said, well, and I really didn't want that. They said, well, first of all, they said, we'll sell you the old house. This house was abandoned. It hadn't been lived in for 10 or 15 years. It was overgrown. It was abandoned. And they said, hey, we'll sell you this house and you can tear it down. I really didn't like that lot because of our house plan and how it would sit on it. It just wasn't going to fit right. So I didn't like that. So I said, okay, well, what if we bought like the lot next door? And they said, no, we want to sell sort of everything all together. So then I said, all right, here, why don't I do this? I'll turn this into a business deal and we'll buy everything from you. And they had a total of 11 acres, a little over 11 acres. And Brad, you're asking, you did 2 to 10 acres on your criteria. How did that show up? Well, they had actually split off the property into 2 tax parcels. It was still one parcel, one deeded parcel, but they split it into 2 tax parcels for tax purposes, because on basically kind of right where that fence is behind me, from that side over where the house is, that was taxed as a house. And then everything on this side, all the vacant land, they had in a conservation easement, which allowed them to basically pay reduced taxes as like kind of agricultural land or whatever in a conservation easement. So they split it off into 2 lots. So that's how it showed up in my criteria, even though it's a total of 11 acres. Plus the tax calculation was wrong. And it said that the total was like 8 acres, but it really was not. So we did that. They responded. We went over here, went into negotiations. I, did my thing that I usually do. And I said, okay, what about, ask them for their asking price. And they said, oh, we want this. And I said, all right, well, let me run my numbers and see what that looks like. And I ran my numbers and I did my typical thing. My goal with this whole thing was to get seller financing on this deal. And so this is how I position my seller financing offers, is I say, well, you want your cash offer, or you want this price. My cash offer is going to be like here. I just can't get to that. But if you're willing to get a little bit more money over time, I can get you closer to your asking price. And then sort of everybody wins here. And then they said, okay, well, tell me more. And I got lucky because this was a family. There was 3 siblings, and one of the siblings, the second lady I talked to, the first lady I talked to kind of referred me to her sister. And she said, hey, my sister is going to talk to you about this. So it turns out her sister works for a real estate closing attorney. So her sister understands how all of this works. She's been in the real estate business for years, and she was married to an attorney in the past. So she sort of understood how all this worked. So I said, great. Well, let's talk. So I made her, we went back and forth on a few terms, and ultimately we decided on a seller financing. I gave them 10% down cash, and then they seller financed the rest. We did it at a 3.25% interest rate. We did interest only payments, and then I structured it where the payments, as we paid down, because I knew we were going to divide it up, as we sold lots off, we would get partial releases on the principal balance, and my payments were based off of whatever the principal balance was, not the original note balance. So over time, as I sold lots off, my payments went down to them, and then we structured in basically a minimum interest due, where essentially we're getting close to their desired price per acre, but I get to stretch that out over time, and it worked out in my favor because the values have gone up and everything worked out. So worked it out that way, gave them that, and we were off to the races. And then we scheduled closing, and we closed in April of 2021 on this property, and this house came with it. And I brought in a business partner of mine to sort of go in on the deal, because I had never done a subdivision before, and he's done a lot of these in our county. So I said, hey man, I'll bring you into this deal like kind of as an advisor. I'm going to get the lion's share of the profits. But can you help me out with this, right? turns out I kind of figured everything out. I'm covering up my camera here, but my arm's getting tired. Turns out I kind of figured everything out on my own and was able to do most of it on my own. Really, the appraiser, or not the appraiser, the surveyor did most of the legwork for this whole deal. So we had to go get soil tests done. So I consulted a soil test company. That was a referral from a friend of mine who's a home builder, builds a lot of houses, does some small developments. Got his soil test person. They came out here, did soil tests. That cost me about, I think it was like $2,700 to soil test. We also didn't soil test the entire property. Behind me here, there's a creek that runs basically 3/4 of the way back, all the way across all the lots. So we didn't soil test on the other side of the creek because we knew we weren't going to be building over there. So to save a few bucks, we just did all of our core samples on this side between the creek and the road. And that worked out well. So it was $2,700 to do the soil tests on the whole thing. And then I had to pay the surveyor to do all the survey work. And he did everything with the county and did through planning and zoning and blah, 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 blah. He handled all that. That cost me about, I think it was $4,000 to do that work. He surveyed everything, recorded all the plats, all that stuff. So anyways, so we got all that done and we split it up into 4 different lots. We were trying to get 5 lots because in our county, you can do up to 5 lots as considered a minor subdivision, and you don't have to jump through all of the hoops that you do for a major subdivision, like stormwaters, like all the, street lights and blah, 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 and all the other stuff that comes along with doing a subdivision. If you're 5 lots or less, they just allow you to split it up, which is great. So we wanted to keep it under 5 lots, but we had an issue over there on the other side of that house. There's a creek, and then there's a couple spring heads, which I don't think they're spring heads. And I had a conversation recently with the soil test company about actually taking those off their report and having them come back out because those things are dry as a bone. When they came out here and did the soil test, it was like February and it had been raining a lot. And there was like kind of a low spot over there in the woods. And they said that was a spring head when it really wasn't, because it's dry as a bone, right? It's been dry as a bone. Like after everything dried up in the spring and the rains kind of stopped. So that's what happened there. So we bought this deal. We closed on it. And then, how do I get my lot for free? So my business partner on this is a TV person, has done some TV shows, and needed to use this particular house. So he and I do a lot of deals together, and he was trying to get houses for this new TV show that he was doing, and he needed houses to flip for the show because he does it like a house flipping show. So he came to me. He knows that we wholesale a lot of deals, and said, hey man, he let me know like a few months ahead of time, hey, we got a show, whatever deals, I need a rehab that's this price, I need a rehab that's this price, I need a rehab that's this price. So one of the rehabs he needed was he needed a couple like really big rehab projects. So I sold him one property that was on the show. It was down in Woodstock, Georgia. I sold him that house. I was actually going to flip that myself, and then he made me an offer to buy it, so I just sold it to him instead of me flipping it myself. So then, and then we needed some other light rehab stuff, and I think there was another deal I sold him. No, that one, he had already gotten enough light rehab stuff, so the one I was going to sell him for the light rehab, he didn't need. But we had another house under contract at the same time that was a full rehab. It was bad. It was really bad. And that house got stuck in probate, and we couldn't get the probate finished in time to close and start the rehab for the show because they had to start filming the show. So we had this house right here, which was abandoned. We were actually originally probably planning on tearing this house down and building a new construction house on that lot. But we needed a full rehab, like huge transformation house, and that house was it right there. So we decided to use this one for the show. But the way we structured our deal is actually I got all the profits that came out of this house from the show. He just needed the house for the show. We got a lot of materials donated and stuff for the show just because it's on TV and the marketing and the advertising and blah, 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 blah. So we were able to do this flip for a lot less money than it would have. I mean, this flip would have been, I think we spent $130,000 on this rehab is what we spent. And really in real life, if we didn't have donated materials, we probably would have spent $180,000 on that house doing the flip. I mean, we got flooring, light fixtures, windows. I think the roof was donated. Like landscaping work was donated so the landscaper could be on TV. It was a whole lot of stuff got donated for free. So we got that rehab done for a lot less. So then, what we did is the profits that we made from this particular house, I got to keep as part of our deal. And then he got, the way we structured the deal is my partner got exclusive right. He's a builder. He's a home builder too. He has a home building company. He got exclusive right to build houses on lot 3 and lot 4. So he gets all the builder fees and the profits from, they're really just builder fees because we sell the lots to the homeowners who are going to build, and then they get a construction loan, and then he builds for them. So he gets the builder fees from that, and then he got the profits from lot 4. We kind of split it up a little bit. I got the lion's share of the profits, but he got a decent amount of profit. And he got to use the house for the show, and there really wasn't a whole lot of risk for him because I fronted all the down payment money. He was able to borrow the rehab money on that from one of his private lenders. I mean, I could have brought in one of my private lenders to rehab that house, but he brought in one of his private lenders, and so that's how we sort of structured that deal. So as soon as we finished this, we banged out that flip fast because it was for TV. We did it in 3 months, 90 days, total full gut rehab on that house in 90 days. It looks beautiful. We have a great new neighbor there, and turned out awesome. So anyways, we took the profits from that house, and I was able to use those profits, and we had a little bit left over. I left it in the account just for reserves. And I was able to pay off. So we sold that house as the flip, right? We sold that to the current owner that lives there, and paid off the seller from the seller financing on track 1. And then I took the profits that we made from that, and I paid off track 2. So then I owned this lot, my track 2 where our house sits. I owned it free and clear. So we paid it off, and then we sold it to my wife and myself personally in our personal names. So it went from our LLC to us. We did a warranty deed. We did a full closing, all the shebang, so that we didn't just do a quick claim deed. We did the whole thing. So sold that to us. And then now we owned this lot free and clear. It was our name. There were no liens and encumbrances on it. And then we went to the bank and got a construction to perm loan. I have mixed feelings about the construction to perm because here's what we ran into with the process. It's September 2022. The market's changed a lot. Interest rates have shot up drastically. And we started the paperwork for the construction loan in, I don't remember what it was, like October or something like that. I think it was October of 2021. And interest rates were just kind of starting to go up just a little bit. Like they were still in the 3s. So I said, well, we'll do the construction of perm. Shit. Lost my coffee there. Sorry. So I said, all right, well, let's do the loan. And then we tried to keep the loan at a certain amount. We were approved for a lot more, but we wanted to keep it at a certain amount. So we borrowed that amount. Well, then we went way over budget on this build. Way over budget. And because we were building in a inflationary environment. I mean, construction costs went up 25 to 30% year over year from 2020 to 2021 and into 2022. Like the prices shot up considerably. I mean, I was just chasing prices this entire time. So then we went in and we went over budget. So luckily I had locked in my interest rate on our construction to perm back when we first took it out, where we got an interest rate in the 3s, which was great. But we couldn't go back and borrow more money to cover our overages on the house build. So we had to eat all that with cash. Luckily, we had cash. And I was hoping to use this cash to invest in an apartment deal. I had, a few $100,000 that I wanted to invest in an apartment deal, and that ended up not happening. But I have it in the house, and I'll get that cash back out. We have the equity in the house. Again, we built this. This house is worth significantly more than what it cost us to build this house, because the way I did it, I managed it myself. I kind of knew how much everything cost, blah, blah, blah. So we have a significant amount of equity in this house. And even if the market goes down a little bit, we still have a significant amount of equity in this house. So in a few months, I'll probably go pull out a home equity line of credit against the house and get some of my cash back so I can work with it and use it for other investment stuff. So that's what we did here. So we got the lot for free and we started building the house. So that's kind of how we got this lot for free. And then a few months later, we sold lot 3 right here, which we've got a great family that's moving in next door to us here that's building this house currently. So they bought lot 3 from us, and then we were able to pay off the seller, the lender for the seller financing. So they got paid off on that. So we only owe them money now left just on lot 4. That's all that we have left. And we have lot 4 for sale. Market's kind of turning a little bit, so we did do a price reduction on it. So basically we're probably selling that for, we'll make a tiny little profit on that lot, and just sell it and get them paid off. But fortunately, the way we structured our seller finance deal, because my payments go down over time, the monthly payment on that lot is manageable. Plus we did a 3-year balloon on that. And let's see here, it's September. We've closed in April. So we're a little over a year into that note. So we still have a lot of time left on that note till that balloon payment is due to pay off that other lot. So the payment's totally manageable to the seller on that other lot. And yeah, so that's how we structured this deal. It worked out great. We were able to build the house. I'll do some other videos in terms of timeline on building the house and go through the construction, but you're kind of peeking. I'm standing out here behind the garage right now because the sun rises in the front and it's very, very bright. But yeah, this is the back of the house here, and I'm going to go through, we're still plenty of work to do to this house. I'm still doing projects even after we moved in. One of them I just did a few weeks ago was I screened in the porch finally there. So got the screen and porch done. That's great. We love it. Just in time for the cool fall weather to sit out there. It's been awesome. So thanks for checking out the video. I'm going to do a lot more videos about this build and how everything worked out and how we structured things. And if you have questions about it, let me know. So thanks again, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.